Hello there, and welcome back to the channel. Well, this week is going to be really challenging for me because we're entering into the more rarefied air of instruction, and a portion of instruction that actually takes even more work than demonstrations, and that's presentations. Every teacher would be well served to have a few presentations in their back pocket ready to go in case something gets changed, in case some schedule gets thrown up in the air. That happens to almost every teacher. I can't speak to private school, but I know in public school things happen and things get rearranged and you can't always be ready for them. So it's nice to have a few things set aside that can work in a presentation form and offer students an experience that's pleasant and that really does inform them. And that's one of the things about presentations that's really special, and that is they're highly informative. They limit student participation a little bit, and they've changed the focus really to the teacher more, and that's why I'm cautious about discussing them with you, because if you're naturally show-offy like I am and like John was, the temptation with presentations is to just show and have a lovely time, and the kids just sit there and just sort of laugh. It's like a comedy routine. And without fail, teachers think they're funny, so they get into doing these presentations. They're lots of fun. And presentations tend to be information-centered. In other words, you're going to be providing a lot of information in a presentation, and the class participation is going to be more limited. It still will happen, and I'm not sure quite how I'm going to do the presentation that I have in mind for tomorrow's episode. It's a presentation I used to do with my classes about poetry, and I always worked with a whiteboard or a chalkboard. My favorite was the chalkboard. So it's a little bit tricky. Today I'm just going to give you some hints about presentations that involve using any type of program that creates slides. The slides go way back in the presentation history. In fact, I had to prepare actual film slides for my senior presentation when I graduated from my undergraduate degree. And so they go back to really old school technology, photography. And there are some ideas, even from that time, that it's worthwhile to review as you're getting ready to set up presentations and to think about as you're developing your presentations. I found that my very best presentations came from doing them each year or every other year and doing them with attention to detail and timing and methodology. And so that element of presentations I cannot show you, I can only suggest to you, and that is make sure you spend a little time thinking about what it's like to be the student in that presentation, as well as what it's like to be the teacher and how it works. Usually the main part of student participation during presentations is note-taking, and certainly students need instruction and opportunities to practice that, because note-taking is a really important skill. It is powerful. And a good presentation, as you know, will use eyes, ears, and kinetic strength, your hands, to visit the information and to solidify the information in the student's mind. So presentations have that going for them all over because they approach kids in more than one way. So I'm going to try today to just use a little bit of the presentation methodology to present you with some ideas about it. And it may work. We'll see how it works. I'm going to try it and we'll see what it looks like when I get this all worked out. Something to keep in mind about presentations is organization can really help you make the presentation more successful. If you have a clear goal in mind, if you have clear ideas in mind, and you have them organized in a really logical way, the presentation will be more useful. If you develop a style that you like in relation to your presentations, that can be helpful. One direction is to make all your presentations of sort of a common format so that students know, okay, she's going to do a presentation and these are the things that are going to happen. This is what it's going to look like. Or you could use presentations tailored to the material that you're using. For example, when I did my Jane Eyre presentations where I presented the backstory on the Brontes, I used the font that might have been available and sort of slide design that looked kind of Victorian, so you got them into that mood, you got them into that place before they started reading the book. So both of those can work. Animations can work in presentations. I liked using animations, and I would even practice like magically moving things using the animation feature, so that if I had something come in, I would gesture with my hand that it would come down, so that when it came down or when it flowed upward, I was doing it, right? When I was just using my counter or my advanced button, I was actually pretending that I was moving things through this magic. That can make it more fun for you, and if it's more fun for you, yippee, it might even be more fun for the students. You can have AI do your slides for you. I think that's fine. When you're doing the presentation, that's what matters, but no matter how you prepare your presentation, no matter how you do it, you should always stay where your joy blossoms. When you're making a presentation, try to enjoy it. I used to say to students, and I've mentioned this before, somebody's going to enjoy this class today. It may just be me, but somebody's going to enjoy it. And that's what presentations should include, is an element of real joy, of real pleasure, and the opportunity to share with students something that really matters. So I strongly recommend letting your presentation be guided by that. Finally, short is always going to be a little bit better than long. As much as possible, you want your presentation to fit within the realm of your class. And if your class is only 30 minutes, then fit that presentation into 25. If it takes more time than that, you got to break it up into more than one presentation. Remember, you're dealing with human beings, and human beings like to be engaged and like to matter, and presentations test their attention. In some ways, even more than lectures. So the more you can tighten your material and make sure it gets across what you need getting across, then the better off you are. Consider preparing some presentations that allow you to tweak them as the years go by. And finally, when you're going to do a presentation, I strongly recommend having 2 ways to access it always, because even if you have them stored on the cloud and you love using the cloud, there are times when you simply can't get to it that you can't anticipate. And it helps to have either a jump or thumb drive available that has them on it, or to have them downloaded already on the computer you're going to use with the projector. That's it for today. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, and I hope you see me soon, you gorgeous people.